Hello everyone, my name's Dean, let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is April 16th, 2025, and yes, that is for real. I don't know what day it is, because this market has been absolutely brutal. Obviously I'm watching the markets all the time, every day, pretty much every moment, but I try not to focus on, oh my gosh, it's this date, how is it not yet done this? Yes, I think that, but I try not to stay there, right? It's been very tough being positive in this kind of market. But today I'd like to talk about why I see the first move of this alt season happening right now, and why that is. All right, if that sounds interesting to you, then watch till the very end. Obviously, we're also going to talk about Bitcoin, so let's get started with that. All right, on the 4-hourly time frame, we see what I was talking about in the last episode. We have a nice inverse head and shoulders, a W reversal, as you can see, as some people call it. Basically, Bitcoin made a bottom, okay, and that bottom was what we said it was likely to be. We were saying how this is likely going to be the bottom for Bitcoin, because if you look at this entire move, this right here, let me make it visible. So this entire move is an ABC zigzag, more likely than not, right? If you look at it, we're in the B wave, and the B wave is essentially A, B, C, and we have yet to put in that C wave, but we're on our way. We're continuing this move up, which should end up right here in our pink box. Let's extend our pink box. And yeah, that's where we're expecting Bitcoin to top out in this local move. So that being said, Bitcoin is still likely to go up a bit, but not by too much. But we did get that W reversal that we're talking about. Let's go back on the 4-hourly. That W reversal that, I mentioned as being, this is my left shoulder, this is my my head, and this is my right shoulder. And so yeah, we're likely to see a continuation of that. But that isn't the most important or interesting thing. And I'll also say that it's all about the altcoins, and it's been about the altcoins for a while, but people are going to see why indeed it is the case. All right? People are going to see why indeed it is the case based off of this analysis. All right, so if you remember last we spoke about altcoins, we were saying how we have this 3-part touch in this bull flag, okay? Check this out. Daily time frame, you have what you would consider, what most would consider a flagpole, okay? And you have a retracement, and then a subsequent consolidation. So here's the retracement, right? And then the subsequent consolidation, which has taken 1, 2, 3 touches at the base, okay? In technical analysis, 3 is the magic number. That is a number we typically see in corrective patterns to designate a completion of the pattern, of the corrective motion. So if that's indeed the case, and I also proved that this is likely some sort of zigzag or bull flag, because if you take your Fibonacci retracement tool from the bottom of the flagpole to the top right there, you can see that the retracement plus the subsequent consolidation literally hits the 0.618 to the decimal. Okay, you can see that right there. So it's perfect, it works out well, and you've gotten since then a move up and out, right, from that level. Okay, and this, I'll be remiss if I don't mention, is the TOTAL3. The TOTAL3 is what? It is every asset in crypto minus Bitcoin minus Ethereum, so it's representative of the altcoin market at large, and you can see that is showing since we bottomed out on that third touch, which was April 5th, April 6th, that showing positive momentum, right? Albeit very slow, very, very slow and boring. It seems as if nothing is happening. But if you look and you take a step back, the altcoin market has been moving up and in a convincing manner since April 5th. The other thing I'll mention is this. Drop down on the 4-hourly time frame, and this is quite clear. Look at what you see here. Not only do you also once more see your inverse head and shoulders bullish reversal pattern. This is typically what you see. You can also call it, once again, a W reversal pattern. I talked about this in last episode. I said this looked like the Wu-Tang symbol, likely a bottom, right? You got your rounded feature on the bottom, and you're forming your right shoulder. Not only do you have that, but also, given our analysis of this entire consolidative motion, this entire consolidative feature, which has thus far taken about 72 days, you have a midline, a bottom, and a top. It's in a channel, very clear, this teal channel that we're in. Where have we found resistance? Well, we went up, we came up and found resistance at the midline. Let me zoom in. If I'm having trouble, you're probably having trouble seeing it. We found resistance at the midline. We popped up above it, and we retested old resistance as new support. Boom. That's your RS flip. This is very important. It is a very strong, consistent principle that you see time and time again in technical analysis. This is called the RS flip, the resistance to support flip. So again, this level represented by the channel's midline, and for those of you who aren't frequent listeners, watchers, the midline is resistance when you're below it, support when you're above it. Channels have three features, three distinguishing features: the support level, the bottom of the channel, the midline, the middle of the channel, and the top. The resistance. The middle is, once again, resistance when you're below it, support when you're above it. You need to treat each and every one of these features, each and every one of these levels have to be tested and then retested. So if they're broken, they have to be broken through and then retested, right? If it's a bullish trend, then broken through as resistance, retested as support. If it's a bearish trend, then broken through as support, retested as resistance. That's called an SR flip, but it's the same principle. Here you see proof of continuation, whereby the previous resistance flipped right here after this long drawn out consolidation into new support. That is a very nice, confidence inspiring continuation from this level. That's what you're seeing on the TOTAL3. Now, if that does indeed happen, where's your next target? Well, I have that pink line. Again, remember, this is not rocket science. If it's a channel, this channel in question is 72 days. The next likely target is the top of the channel, 14% up. That is our first move. All right, you can say this was the first move of alt season, but whoops, sorry. You can say this was the first move of alt season right here, but actually this is the first clean move. This is the breakout of your inverse head and shoulders bullish reversal pattern. This should be clean and clear, conclusive, kind of unquestioned bullish move to the top of the channel, where you next find some sort of resistance and then consolidate and then do it again. That first move is, although it's only 14% on this chart. This is an aggregate indicator, right? This is a chart that has all kinds of different assets with different market caps, you know, showing 15%. That may be a 40, 50, 60% move in another altcoin. That will be noticed. That is what's coming based off of this TOTAL3 indicator. That is what is exciting me, right? I don't make a video once more for any reason. If I'm making a video, I have something to talk about, or at least I think I do, right? If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and then, you know, it's a false alarm. But from what I'm seeing on these charts, based off of this analysis, I'm expecting a significant, you know, clean and clear move in the altcoin space from here. So that's what I'm seeing. That's why I'm seeing it. Let's see. Let's use Ethereum as an example. Okay, so we're on Ethereum right now. We're on the daily chart, and we're gonna do Ethereum, and then we're gonna have a quick look at the Bitcoin dominance indicator, because that's also telling us that something big is on the horizon. Not on the horizon. Things have been on the horizon for months now. Something big is imminent. Okay, look at Ethereum. You're at the bottom, right? This is a stair step nasty impulse right here, and just been going on and on and on. And this is clearly right here a resistance. You've been under this resistance for quite some time. Okay, let's draw this out properly. Boom. Now, your task is to break the resistance and ultimately retest some version of it. So it's not necessarily the case that you have to retest right here the surface of this downwards wedge, but you may end up being fine retesting a level that represents the fair value of the asset at during this drawdown. Okay, so just be mindful of that. So if I'm looking at Ethereum from here, I'm actually pulling my fibs. Let's go on the daily time frame so I can analyze this properly. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Just what I put. I'm just, you know, just because I put it doesn't mean it's correct. I'm re-analyzing what I put. So my next logical resistance is going to be the bottom feature of this price action right here. This rounded top, head and shoulders, right? The bottom right here, we lost that support. It created a big drawdown. So basically, if you see, all of this is a product of this failure right here. Okay, so that support that we had in Ethereum for 80 days now is going to be retested as resistance, but not just retested as resistance. It's going to be slightly broken in a true bullish trend. So my targeting Ethereum first at 3090 makes sense, because that is the next logical resistance right here. Let's put a level right here. Okay, it's around here. And if you want to take the aggregate distance of this, right, as some sort of move down, and you take your Fibonacci retracement tool, I actually think that you go up slightly and just wick into that. So I would actually say my target is more precisely 3200, something like that. So understand my logic here. You had a previous support in a bearish trend, you meet previous support as new resistance like this, and then you continue down. That's a bearish trend. In a bullish trend, what do you do? In a bullish trend, so the previous support is actually not where I drew it, but the previous support is over here. I hope you can see that. It's right here, around the 7.4. So you break the 7.4, you go to the 7.86, thereabouts. You basically show strength. That's showing strength because you're saying, oh yeah, I know that was my previous support and that's my next logical resistance, but it's not going to be my next logical resistance anymore because I'm going to break it. I might not break it on this first go, but I'm going to come back, and then I'm going to break it in the second one. Decisively, conclusively, very clean and clearly. Okay? So that's what I'm looking for. That's what you should see. The first move in Ethereum, if I'm correct in this analysis, that you should see. I mean, I'm talking about small move. I'm not talking about big move. Obviously, it's going to go up much higher. But the first complete move, uninterrupted move that you see is around Ethereum going to 3220. So that's the first move, and I've been obsessed with my clients saying, hey, I'm just worried about this first move. I want you to catch this first move, because it's been so long that this market has been in a downtrend, sideways, consolidation. I really want to catch the first move. So I've been kind of poring over the charts, trying to identify what this first move would look like. That is the first move to me. So that to me for Ethereum is 102%. That's the first move, right? Obviously, is it in one fell swoop? Maybe, maybe not. You could expect some, small retracements, or maybe it goes in one fell swoop. I don't know, but that's the next logical resistance as I see it. You can say there's one here, but it's not as pronounced. I think this is an intermittent retracement, so it's probably not going to go in like one fell swoop. I could see something like this, but that is my ultimate target before any major retracements, right, in Ethereum. So that's just an example, and I think we're there where we've, on the smaller time frames, gotten to a place where we can identify a legitimate bottom, right? Here's your W reversal. Here's a consolidation after that W reversal and a pop out. So that's what I'm seeing. Last but not least, this is important, and this substantiates the analysis on the altcoin charts. We're looking here at the Bitcoin dominance indicator. The Bitcoin dominance indicator is a measure of Bitcoin's dominance vis-a-vis the rest of the cryptocurrency market. If Bitcoin dominance is going up, that means altcoins are going down or they're not moving at all. Meanwhile, Bitcoin's going up. If Bitcoin dominance is going up, Bitcoin's going down, altcoins are going down even more, or Bitcoin is stagnant and altcoins are going down, or Bitcoin's going up and altcoins aren't going up much. Hope that's not confusing. Maybe it is. So that's Bitcoin dominance. It's basically how dominant is Bitcoin in terms of market cap when considering the entire cryptocurrency market cap. Okay. So what we want, what we're looking for, what we've been looking for signs of alt season, for signs of altcoins actually making legitimate moves, is Bitcoin dominance coming down. And on the high time frame, I'm not going to make this analysis again. I did in the previous video. We are at a local market top on the higher time frame. So we're breaking it down on the smaller time frame on the daily, right? Because this is a very long-term trend. So the daily is actually a smaller time frame to work on. What you can see here very clearly is one pair of sort of retracement, right? So this is clearly a flat correction and a counter. Secondary counter. Tertiary counter. Okay, I'm going to do that again. So again, flavors of three pairs. You typically see three corrective pairs in atop in a distributive consolidation, or a distributive consolidation, or an accumulative consolidation. Whether it's distributive or accumulative, any consolidation typically comes in a flavor of 3, and that spells the end of that consolidative move. So again, A wave, B wave, secondary break, secondary retracement, tertiary break, tertiary retracement, or pivot as I like to call it. And then the trend changes. So what does that mean? On the higher time frames, that basically says that before taking the trend from this, which is a nasty uptrend that just went on and on and on, that basically spells you're not making money in altcoins, Bitcoin's probably going down or it's not doing much of anything, you're not really earning, the cryptocurrency market's not much what it is, or it's not doing anything for anybody unless you get lucky and happen to be in something that's moving, whatever. That happened for a while now. This is on the weekly time frame, every candlestick's worth a week's worth of price action. Then from here, this is where we started counting our 2 degrees of AB basing in a pivot, or 3 pairs of AB bases. You can see a concerted pattern of corrective pairs, and that would mean that this is the process by which the trend changes. Because when we talk about consolidation, when we talk about accumulation, distribution, all these consolidative patterns, their only job is to change trend from up to down, from down to up, right? Distribution changes from up to down, accumulation changes from down to up. So if this changes from up to down, we got our requisite 3 pairs of corrective patterns. Again, look at it for yourself. Go on your Bitcoin dominance chart, check it out for yourselves. I think it's quite clear here. You can see, and this will really confirm the first move in alt season, because this is likely to come down here, which is the first logical support of this Bitcoin dominance indicator, right? That confirms it. And then the counter is up here, right? And then continuation. No alt season. Basically, this reflects what the altcoins are doing. So don't misunderstand. Don't think that this happens and then altcoins run. No, this is an indicator. So everything that's happening in the cryptocurrency market is reflected in this indicator, in this Bitcoin dominance indicator. All it's showing you is that for a while, it's been really bad for altcoins. You're not earning on altcoins. Bitcoin's gaining against altcoins. But then, for a longer while, more specifically, since this point right here, okay, around November of 24, it's not that Bitcoin's gaining against altcoins, but Bitcoin and altcoins are steady. So for about half a year, 162 days, Bitcoin and altcoins are steady, right? Let me go back. So I hope that makes sense to you. The analysis isn't that complicated, but you can see here, when Bitcoin dominance is kind of at a standstill, that basically means you're making the transition from a market dominated by Bitcoin to a market now dominated by altcoins. That is exciting, because that's where really the exciting action happens in the cryptocurrency space. Bitcoin maxis will tell you otherwise, but honestly, when altcoins are running, everybody's having fun, to be honest. And Bitcoin's typically running as well at that point in time. So yeah, this is what I'm seeing. That's how I'm seeing it, guys. I hope this was helpful. If this was useful, like, share, and subscribe. If you got value, consider tipping me by Venmo, Litecoin, Cash App, or Venmo, Litecoin, Cash App. And you can consider joining my crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation service. Also at the pinned comment below, I go one-on-one up to 2 hours with you every month, looking at up to 5 different assets and help you balance your portfolio and give you on a monthly basis, multiple times a month actually, buy and sell signals for those various altcoins. All that, once again, is
while the world spins without me. Arrive at the fork in the road, could turn back, repeat the same story, or march forward and embrace change and reflect upon His glory. I'm a selfish man, therein lies the whole problem. Torn between my actions and the will of my heart. I had to take it all apart to see where I stood as a man, to depart from this world and leave it in His hands. Come on.
And it looks like I'm heading for the gold, y'all. Touring on a pothole road, y'all. I get it even if I didn't fit in, winning right up to the end like I didn't even know, y'all. I have Pop's genetics, working hard never to get it, like shit it better than letting life get the best of my efforts. Instead I dedicated to bettering my steps, measuring investments, watch me do it to the death, y'all. Running fresh 400.